Welcome to the Lost Lowdown podcast 190 with your hosts, Claude and Justin.
What's up, guys?
Hey, we're back continuing our season 6 commentary series with episode 606 Sundown.
Sundown.
Because when the sun goes down, the temple gets empty. Because nobody there knows why they're there. Because it's the sundown. I don't know. I love that title, but I remember not liking this episode.
yeah. I think you might say that, this is one of those episodes that has generated a lot of our consternation over the years with certain
hmm
aspects of the plot, like
hmm
specifically some of the stuff related to the smoke monster and the ash and the claiming, and there's a lot of those issues like come to a head here, and
Mm.
it does seem like the opportunity to say something about them as a kind of final word or whatever. I mean, this is the last time they'll like really touch on that
hmm
in a heavy way. Like the rest of the stuff with Said is very like whatever.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like blah for the rest of the season. Like this is the last
You
time he
mean
does
did
anything.
did you mean Jirah or did
Yes.
you?
Sure.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
tough one.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of thing where I want to like this episode more than I do.
hmm hmm
I think another problem I had with it, just based on where they go, is just in terms of the Flash Sideways, is the fact that it focuses on Saeed and Nadia,
hmm
which you know everyone who's watched to the end knows. Um,
That he ends
you
up with
know,
Nadia in the afterlife.
right.
Did I get that right? I just took a wild guess.
And there's this one scene in the episode when between Man in Black and Saeed uh when he's like, I forget what the exact line was, but it's something like, we'll see it in a second here.
hmm
But it's something like uh you know what could you possibly offer me? you know I lost the one person that I cared about in the world,
hmm
and there's nothing you could say. I'm basically at rock bottom. There's nothing you can do for me. And he's like, what if I could bring her back, or something like
hmm
that.
Oh
you know
man. Yeah.
I guess, like, just like spitballing here, I guess if I'm gonna guess like why Saeed thought that the Man in Black brought him back, like maybe that's why, because he kind of insinuates that he could do it, you know, with Nadia, or maybe he's actually talking about Shannon, because he specifically does not use proper names in
hmm
that scene, seemingly strategically. And I remember fans at the time debating who he was talking about, and I was like, "You
Yeah.
people are crazy! It's obvious that he's talking about Nadia." And
Yeah.
now I'm not so sure.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is they almost can't say it's Shannon if they're going to have his flash sideways be about Nadia, right?
Right,
And it's
right.
interesting
It's awkward.
that this would be since they know where they're going to end up. This is the last season,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they know what they're going to end up doing with him and who his plus one is to the afterlife.
Right.
Uh, but so it's interesting that they don't make it explicit and they still have this focus on Nadia and it right because you know it'd be interesting to think about if Shannon had returned in this part for some reason. But I think the problem is
Mm-hmm.
the problem is that the first mistake they make in this triangle right between Shannon and Nadia and Saeed is like Saeed shouldn't care about Shannon. Like it just ruins his whole entire flow for his character arc for the greatest love of his life not to be the woman who was most foundational in the creation of who he is when he gets to the island, right?
Right.
Like that was the relationship that most defined him.
Yeah.
Um in that way by the time, in the beginning of the show. So it's weird to be like, no, 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 no. Like, we want to have our cake and eat it too, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the problem is maybe like Shannon has no ticket to the afterlife otherwise, right? Like,
Right.
what could they really say? How would they really depict that being as interesting? With
Yeah.
what they do with in season 6 with the other major characters, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think those early steps where they have to like join these things together that shouldn't go together is why we get to when we're here right now. It's like they have to do things like, what if I could bring her back?
Mm-hmm.
Because we were going to talk about Nadia, but it's going to end up being Shannon.
Right, right. Yeah, 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 yeah. If we play it vague now, like you can think whatever you want now, and
Mm-hmm.
later we'll be able to say, well, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't say any names,
It
so
was interesting. Like, I don't remember a lot of the details with that kind of that plot line. So I'm curious because I feel like what they could have done is a little bit more like the Sawyer Juliet Kate thing, right? Where they could have maybe made that an actual mystery who Saeed is going to end up with.
mm-hmm.
And then then because I feel like it could make Shannon at the end be a reveal, like we go, oh, okay, they were
Right.
making us question the whole season, who would he choose, or who would it be, or who did he love more, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And now this is like a reveal to that mystery instead of it just being like, wait, what happened here? Like, we are expecting this to be Nadia.
Right. Right. Yeah.
But I'm curious watching it again this time if I see any like indications that they were trying to do anything like that, and maybe it was more subtle or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. I think there might have been some practical considerations with the actor, if I remember right, like getting her back,
Mm-hmm.
like, and so yeah, I think it's possible that they did some rewrites or they just had to like write around what they had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
uh
always a possibility.
but I do agree that it would have been more effective if they had highlighted that as a thing before just like springing it on us in the last episode of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, right. Saeed cares the most about this thing. Oh, really? That's a shocker. He hasn't even said a
Yeah.
word about it. And
Yep.
I remember people bringing up, podcasts like at the time uh we watched it, not that long ago, when he goes back with Oceanic 6. He marries Nadia. She
Mm-hmm.
dies, in
Mm.
his arms. Of course, he says this to Man in Black too. It's like great that they both died in his arms. So it's
Mm-hmm.
you still can't narrow it down.
Yeah, that's funny.
The only thing I ever
I'm
cared
noticing
about
it.
died in my
I
arms.
feel like I'm noticing a pattern where if women get in his arms, they die. Is that can I assume that from those two data points?
It does feel that way.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'd stay
strange,
away,
Saeed.
ladies.
Don't get any hugs from Saeed.
So anyway, like that happens, and then next time we pick up, well, okay, right, sorry, then he goes on the kill hitman rampage with Ben,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when he like turns to the dark side.
Yeah.
But at a certain point in that arc, he quits and he goes to like build houses in the Dominican Republic or something like that, and that's where um Locke catches up with him,
Mm-hmm.
to try to convince him to come back. And
Yeah.
he says, uh, he says, um, what am I trying to say? He says, those were the happiest 9 months of my life that he was married to Nadi. He says that to Locke.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's a little hard to square that with the idea that
Mm-hmm.
in the afterlife he's just gonna go for shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
like, was he lying? Was he just did he just change his mind later? Like, no, actually it wasn't that great. It was better that like week and a half with shit.
The week
I,
and a half,
I don't
dude. Week and a half, man. 10 days.
I don't understand. Like, So it's like the show seemed to indicate, the whole tailspin with being the hitman for Ben, that's all because of Nadia.
Yep.
It's not
Yep.
Shannon that causes that.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon's death doesn't cause him to like go
Nope.
on some rampage on the island. Sure, he mopes for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but he came back from that. It was
Yeah.
really, and when he went back to the real world, he wasn't like doing crazy shit. He was living a normal life until Nadia died. So it's just like,
Yep.
I feel like it just doesn't fit the arc. Like it's exactly what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying. It doesn't fit the arc of the character
Yeah.
that he should end up with Shannon. But I think you're right that I mean, I feel like everyone from season one just got auto pass like into the
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like they were just
Yeah.
like automatically in. And it's like, well, Shannon and Saeed are there. Like they should be together because they were before she
Mm-hmm.
died. But I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the thing where it just gets awkward because it's like, when you're in the afterlife, like people died and then there were other relationships and, you know, it's now we're all here. So
No, we're all here.
like, yeah, how
Who?
do
What?
we
It's like, yeah, we're gonna complain now. Like, yeah, yeah. It's like when you get your food at a restaurant, you're like, well, this isn't what I ordered, but I mean, like, I could just deal with what I got, or do I really want to complain, or like, can we move on? Like, you know what I mean? It's like all this work to
yeah.
get here. Like, come on, guys. Like, yeah. It is really super weird, and yeah, I mean, you really lay it out very, very powerfully that it really makes no sense. Because he doth profess so much his love for
I
Nadia.
know. That's a whole
Yeah.
thing. And the core original idea of the character was like centered on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, and that's where I just really start to question. I'm not saying that, he didn't go through some shit on the island,
Mm-hmm.
but that stuff where he was a torturer, like it's just hard for me to believe that that wasn't like at least equally significant to, the uh, I don't know, 3 months he spent on the island. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just weird to me that they sort of demote that seemingly just because of sort of TV show logic and not
Mm-hmm.
really like what the character should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like works better if he could like be with a season one character from the island, from like the main cast,
I
and
think
not
you
just
get the
like.
benefit of it helping the cyclical nature of the show and the storytelling, right? And that mythic quality that it has with the
Hmm.
ending really, calling back to the beginning. And I think
Right.
that really helps. And that's probably why it was a natural impulse to want to really make it about these season one characters by the end. But it just has friction with what they showed before it,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is a big problem.
It's
And
just like if they knew that the arc for Saeed was going to be he ends up as Shannon at the end,
uh-huh.
you'd think they would have written the middle part differently.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it doesn't seem like that's what they had in
Well, they
mind. It
had
seems
not,
like something
but
they
if
came
you,
up with later.
well, the problem is like Shannon dying, right? Because that means that any other sort of few storyline after that with him, when he leaves the island for a little bit of time, like who would his romantic interest be about? Okay, well, it can't be Shannon; she's dead.
Right.
So who's the next best fit? Nadia. Great. We could totally tell great stories about Nadia. Like that was his original love, right? So
Right.
it like makes sense that they would sort of be forced to have to do that, to have to talk about Nadia, right? Because what else could they motivate a story on with Saeed with like Shannon, so
Right.
that's what's kind of weird,
Yeah, it's
they
almost like what should have happened is Shannon should have lived, then died
mm-hmm,
after she got off the island. Like she should have died in
something like
Nadia's
that.
place, and
Yes.
then that should have been the
He should have had
catalyst.
that off-island romance for 9 months with Shannon,
Yeah,
is what should have
yeah,
happened, and
exactly.
then it would have been more fitting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Then it sort of would have, yeah, it would have been of a clearer pivot from one to the other instead of
Hmm.
just this thing up to the
And it was
last
just
minute
also
here.
not ever clear why he fell in love with Shannon. It just
Yeah,
that whole thing just didn't even work in the beginning.
yeah, yeah. It was pretty. It was pretty questionable.
But the part of what I always thought was Saeed's the love of Shannon was, I thought, always about the guilt with Nadia, right? This
Hmm.
woman who he couldn't protect, right?
Right.
Who dies in his arms, right? Like he is, I always thought in some way was transferring those feelings
I
about Nadia to
agree.
Shannon, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So it was less about who Shannon
yeah.
is more than what she represented to him, right?
Right.
And so it's weird that they spend time going through his feelings of Nadia again and actually making them have time together off the island again, but like then still to end up with the one who is sort of standing in the place of the real one, you know.
Right.
And
Right. Yeah.
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Substitute Nadia as the better one
Mm-hmm.
somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, why couldn't Saeed be in the church with Nadia and then Shannon's just there too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, I feel like if Penny's allowed, like Nadia should be allowed
mm-hmm. Yeah.
because they have more or less equal claims to a connection to the island and or all
Mm-hmm.
those other people.
Because Boone was alone, right?
Yeah, Boone was
Yeah.
alone. Yeah,
But
you
see,
didn't have to be with anyone.
but I guess like they can't sit Boone next to Shannon because maybe it will seem like, oh, they're a couple.
Right, yeah, then it's weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they already did an incest plot with
Yeah.
them. So it's
Yeah.
like,
So it's like, oh, we can't say they're soulmates and they end
right,
up
that's gonna be
together.
weird. This isn't Game of Thrones. Yeah, right.
Yeah. 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 And it's all like visual storytelling at that point. So you can't
It
like have
is.
lines of like, we're just here as friends.
Right,
Like
right.
you're just,
Yeah.
this is platonic.
And that would
Yeah.
totally spoil the moment. It actually reminds me of that scene from later in season 6 when Sun and Jin are finally about to be reunited and they're running towards each other, but the sonic fence is between them.
Yes.
I remember everyone in the audience is, oh shit, don't run in there. But it's
Yeah.
like it was off. We weren't supposed to be worrying about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, but the way they did it, like, made it come off like as a weird
Hmm.
suspense moment, but they didn't want us to be in that space at all. And I think that's
Yep.
probably what would have happened if they had
Hmm.
Shannon and Boone together without
Yep.
dialogue. It'd just be like, wait, is what are you saying?
What did you say? Hey, there's like love comes in all forms. No, yeah,
Like maybe they're a little too accepting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The afterlife has no rules. Okay,
Yeah, like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay.
What was your flash sideways like? Jeez. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
So I could see that being a problem of needing to get around that.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's all those practical concerns that really get in the way of solid plotting
Hmm.
sometimes. It's so annoying. It's like, oh, we have
But
to
they
do this
also should have
awkward
just
thing to
they
prevent
also
this
should
other
just been
awkward thing.
like hey, like the afterlife isn't full of couples. Like single people should get
Yeah.
in there too.
Yeah,
So
Locke
it's
was
also
alone
yeah,
too.
Locke was alone, but it was almost this thing of like you got to couple up.
Yeah.
You're gonna
No,
you're
no,
gonna
you're
get
totally right.
in.
You're totally right. It was they were almost like that's why you can name the singles. It's Boone
Uh
and
huh.
Locke. I don't think there's any other singles.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely they what like it's cheap, but like they want it to be about connections and like that's the most
Mm-hmm.
obvious way to
Mm-hmm.
show people being connected.
Yeah.
Like otherwise it's just like hugs and stuff.
Otherwise, it's hugs and stuff. Want that in a t-shirt.
It's just like it's a way, it's a shortcut to
Hmm.
like an idea of a bond that
Yeah.
has like the weight of like all kinds of drama and
But
just
like,
like
there's no platonic bonds that will help you get in the afterlife.
no,
That's what they're saying.
that shit doesn't work.
No,
Sorry,
it doesn't work. It's not good enough. Keep
take it outside
trying.
with that. No, that's not gonna.
You better flash somewhere else. Not welcome here.
I
Yeah.
but yeah, I do think like it does make it seem like a bit unnecessarily exclusive. Like
Hmm.
yeah, I think like some of that
Because
could have been.
why couldn't Locke have Helen?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah. It's weird that he doesn't. Like
Hmm.
I feel like again, if Penny's allowed, Helen should have been
Yeah.
allowed too.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, there's no
And it wouldn't have. I felt like the audience wouldn't have thought it was weird. I don't. I think if they would have
I don't
just
think
gone
so
all the way
either.
with it, I think it would have. We would have gotten it. We would have. Especially Christian says this is a place you all made so you could find each other. We would understand that that meant the actual losties, right? They were the
Yeah,
ones we were following in the Flash sideways, right?
right.
So like we would get that he didn't mean all of them, the plus ones too,
Right.
right? So I feel like yeah, they could have just like yeah, Helen's there. I guess maybe Boone is still the single one,
Yeah. Yeah.
or
He
yeah, I
he just
don't.
wasn't alive long enough to
Mm-hmm.
form any relationship with anyone other than his sister.
What a headstone! Oh my god, can you imagine that on your headstone? Boone, he just wasn't alive long enough to form any relationships. That's like the saddest thing. Next to Locke's headstone saying John Locke, he died thinking, I don't understand. Depressing headstones. Wow.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
But so Sundown, huh?
Yeah, Sundown. I mean, why not, right? We get the infamous, stuff about the ash, obviously. That's like
Mm-hmm.
super
Oh, I can't wait.
annoying.
I can't wait.
We're gonna have to sit through that again. Um, and it's like the others joining the man in black in a very blase fashion.
What? But they're so principled.
Yeah. God. Said no one ever.
Said
Oh my
whatever.
God.
Yeah.
You're so principled. Yeah. Oh God. Anything for Jacob or
Or something.
whoever it is this
Is that
week.
the phrase we're supposed to say now? Or is it
Yeah.
Ben? Or is it Ben? Who's in charge?
Yeah,
Okay.
the new that's
Whitmore.
whatever the thing is this
Yeah.
time. It's yeah,
You
we're
could
good
make
at
some
following.
fun. I think you can make a fun comic strip from the point of view of like the others, like Dilbert or something. But it's like, but it's like the others like trying to understand the world that they're in. It's
I,
like two. It's like I see two of them like talking to each other, and like Richard's in the background, and one of them's like, "Yeah, he's like 1,000 years old or some shit," or just like, what do they, like they don't know what's happening.
no, you're so right. They have no idea. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, okay. The like as you say that, I'm just thinking like it is for me a tragedy of the show, like how far the others fall from
Yeah,
season
yeah,
one. Like they are so. Of
man.
course, part of it is that they're off screen. Obviously, like
Mm-hmm.
mystery is always scarier than like when you just see the thing,
Yep.
but through season one, like they're really threatening. Ethan is
Mm-hmm.
scary. Tom
Mm-hmm.
is scary.
Yep.
And even in season two, like they're still pretty scary.
Mm-hmm.
We get this
Mm-hmm.
Henry Gale stuff. Like Ben
Oh
is
man.
creepy as fuck.
Oh man.
Like it's
Yep.
it's it's still like pretty intense. And I think it's really season three where they start to take a
Mm-hmm.
turn. And part of that is that we go inside
Well,
and
yeah, we
it's
get to
like
stay. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. I don't know. That's a phrase that sort of applies. Once you
it's
shine the light on a group that's mysterious, you get to see the parts that make them not so great, and that
yeah.
happened through like methodically on the show.
It
Anything they
really, yeah.
focused on for too long, Dharma, ends up
Yeah.
getting ruined by the exploration of the ideas. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dharma definitely got ruined too, but I think yeah, I guess, Dharma's introduced later and I think
mm-hmm,
the true like destruction of Dharma also comes later, so it just felt
mm-hmm.
less bad,
I,
but
I I I agree with you. I think the others fell from a higher place into a
yeah.
lower point.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because you're right.
Exactly.
Like that, they were so key to the intrigue of the show in the early seasons because it seems like they knew what was going on, right? They had to know what's going on. They got here first. Hey, they're
Yeah,
doing stuff. They got plans.
exactly. They
You know
got
what I mean?
lists.
They got
They
lit.
showing up.
Hey, if you know what's going on, you got a list.
They're not
Okay.
leaving footprints.
Yep.
they're like dressing
Big
up in fake
footprint.
costumes. Like
Yep.
it's super
It's the
crazy,
whole
man. It's
plan.
just
They have a whole agenda. Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
And
exactly,
yeah. And then
exactly.
it just devolves into like, who even knows what's going on here? There's like no organizational
I don't
structure.
know. I'm just following
I'm just,
you.
yeah, it's like, I feel like Tom is just like, hey, I just put on the beer because I like theater. Like, like it's just, I was trying to have some fun with my life.
I agree. At this point, I feel like that's the most plausible explanation. But I also feel like there's a really weird slide that the show does from the costume, like, oh no, they're not what they appear to be. They're actually
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
super like they wear blue jeans, not like rags.
Dude,
It's
they
like
got us with that though, because that was mind blowing. It's like, what? They're not they're not like natives to the island.
yeah.
They're
No,
like
it was cool, but the weird thing is that they just transitioned back into being natives,
hmm.
like if
Hmm.
you look at the way they're dressed now in the temple, and these
Yeah.
are meant to be legit
Well,
clothes, including
because
Cindy, they're
I
dressed
think
like the fake
it's
costumes.
because there ended up being, as someone once said, two groups of others. There's the ones that
Who
Ben
said
took.
that?
Someone on this podcast made a stark claim that there's two groups of others, and I think we saw, and it was sort of it wasn't well done, but I think they basically showed that there's a group of others that Ben took control of and moved to the barracks, and then there's a groups of others who stayed at the temple under like Dogan. That's kind of how I see it progressing, and then
Yeah.
but then there's the whole movie, Ben rounds them up and they move from the barracks and they the whole split them, so it just seemed like they just have those two distinct qualities to them. But you're right that it gets weird because you go, wait, well, now they're just back to the first thing that you guys said wasn't a thing, but it
Right.
actually is a thing. But also they
Yeah.
do leave footprints, they just know how to cover them up.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, somebody comes behind with a broom. Like, wow.
Yeah, it'd be weird to be like, wow, I don't see any footprints out there, but I see a lot of broom tracks. Is that interesting?
Ooh, broom tracks. What does
Yeah,
it
but they're like,
mean?
yeah, exactly. They're like, well, we can't follow broom tracks, so they're so mysterious, these others. But it's like, yeah,
Oh, there it
and
comes
then
down
they're
to
like,
the broom question.
yeah, because it's like, listen, I was trained to track footprints, not broom tracks, so like, I completely was oblivious. I didn't see any evidence of people here.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's okay. So like as you talk, I think you're right. I think that is sort of what they're going for, but I think they missed like there's a little bit of connective tissue there that didn't quite get filmed.
Hmm.
It's almost like they dropped into the uncanny valley again of like showing too much for it to be interestingly mysterious, but not
Hmm.
enough to actually connect the dots of what these people are about.
Yeah.
And they end up seeming like really all like just coming from like a lot of different places, and like why they're even there, what they think their purpose is,
Yeah,
and
that's a whole
how they
thing.
dress and why.
Yeah, the whole why they dress that way at the temple and stuff is super strange. We just never get an idea of
Yeah,
where
I'm just
that
trying to
comes
because it's
from.
like okay, like when they leave the barracks, like Ben's like, okay, Richard, take him to the temple, right? So
Hmm.
like from that point on, basically the others are at the temple. I know that's not totally true because then there's like Richard's camp that the Man in Black goes to.
Hmm.
So blah blah blah. But like, let's just say, but the people in Richard's camp are also dressed like temple others.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
got the rags on and stuff. So, so I'm just trying to figure out like, so Richard, like, he takes them from the barracks, right? And they show up and they're wearing like khakis and they're wearing like one of those, what do you call them? Like polo shirts or something. And they walk
Hmm.
in and it's like, no, here we don't dress like that. We dress in these like raggedy, ripped, like dirty sort of, that's like the style we're going for here. And like, oh, cool. Like the costumes we used to wear. No, not like that. These are real.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I think it means that they
Who are you to
always.
say this is real? I don't know.
I think it means that the others normally dressed in the uh whatever style, classic style perhaps, traditional, um until the bend part, I think. And then it just became the way that they describe it. The chronology makes it seem weird, right? But I think if you track it in a chronological order, it's not as weird. Because basically, they just end up going back to what they were doing normally, right?
Right.
Which I guess that means that the reason that they did that was the only reason to dress traditionally in the beginning of the show was because it was the opposite of what they were actually doing at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was part of the disguise. So it's like we're going to disguise ourselves as who we are normally, and to to offset the fact that we don't dress like that now, which is
Mm-hmm.
just weird. Yeah, it's hard to really make sense of that. It's just it's a weird, like, yeah, it's a weird problem,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
since it's it's also what you would expect people on an island to dress like. So it's like, hey,
Right.
your expectation is true, but it's false because they're just in disguise.
Right.
But because they really dress like in normal modern clothes, except they actually normally don't.
Right.
So back to your original
That was actually
expectation
an
being true.
anomaly.
Yes,
So your
yeah.
assumption was right.
Now your assumption is back to being right, although it started out as being wrong. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, that just doesn't feel like
Hmm.
I just think something's missing there that
Hmm.
it's just weird that I guess part of it is that after season 3 the others take more of a background role and so
Yeah, I think it was just the anomaly was Ben. He took control, and
yeah.
he even because even in the Dharma days before Ben, right, they were dressing in that traditional style, right? They
Yeah,
were
yeah,
in,
yeah,
yeah, the hostiles,
yeah.
right? So it was Ben
Yeah,
like making them do
exactly.
that and live in the barracks, and like have the because they had
Yeah,
access to the
okay.
barracks after the purge. And he's making them, or allowing them to just go back to a sort of normal lifestyle, and it, like suburban, island, right? We're making muffins and having book clubs and stuff.
Right,
And but then there's a certain point where that's just over now, and they don't have the ability to the luxury to kind of like wear those clothes and while they're traipsing through
right,
the jungle or whatever.
right. It makes me think it's a little bit of a it's like a version of that thing you talk about sometimes where it's like when we encountered it, it's like it's already broken, like it's
Mm-hmm.
not
Yep.
doing the thing
Yep.
it's supposed to do.
Yep.
So it's weird that that's the first thing we encounter. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
the other thing that's weird is that we encounter it as a mystery.
Mm-hmm.
When it's actually like the mystery is more the other way around.
Yes.
That makes sense. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Like why aren't shouldn't the nice clothes should be the
Yes.
costume.
Yep. 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 But
It's
it
sort
doesn't
of like
make sense, right? Because, well, and like, sort of Ethan did that, right? He came in a disguise where he
right.
was dressed normal. But that's the
Yeah.
thing, you can't play on the expectation of here's some native people on the island, and then have them be wearing normal clothes, because now you're like, oh well, that's surprising,
Right.
and then there's no second surprise.
Right.
This way, they get three surprises instead of just two.
You're right. You're right. If number of surprises is the thing you want to maximize,
It
this is
is,
definitely
yeah.
the correct path.
Yeah, because this way they get, wow, there's native people on the island and they dress in traditional style. Then it's like, oh no, they don't. They dress in normal clothes. And it's like, oh no, actually, they don't. They dress traditional style. So you get three whole surprises.
Yeah, that's great. No, I'm on board. I could live with that show. I mean, why not?
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
No,
Three
but this
surprises is too many surprises.
it really is. Yeah, it makes me think that they just kind of dropped the ball with the others. Like
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't they didn't pay enough attention to them for so long that by the time we pick up with them again, it just feels underdeveloped.
Mm-hmm.
Everything they do. And then like the way they end is so pathetic. It's like
Mm.
they're just like cannon fodder and they just kind of like scatter into the jungle never to be seen again. Like
That's I go
either
back to the others comic strip where it's like two people just laying on the beach with flaming arrows in their chest, and then one turns to the other and it's like, did you think it in this way? You know, like you know what I mean? Like, what is the last thought of another as they die with the flaming arrow in their chest? Like, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, huh, really? this is this is all I get. This is it, huh? All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jacob.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. Yeah, I mean,
That's
that's actually
actually
another
that's the
facet.
caption. That's the caption in that one. It's like thanks Obama, but it's thanks Jacob. You know, it's like yeah, thanks Jacob.
Yeah, yeah, I just think realistically, and they have like a mild version of this with Richard and a stronger version of this with Ben, although the Ben thing is corrupted by a lot of things. But I do feel like more others should feel betrayed by Jacob. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just it really is just a facet that we don't really explore what's going on in their world. And
Yeah.
I think if you do that, like it becomes less like one dimensional and seemingly
Mm-hmm.
like just like they're almost robots just following whatever's in front of them. Like
Yeah.
that's all they know
Do
how to
you do you
do.
do you or do you mean like followers of particular ideologies just follow? Like, is that they don't think?
I
Uh,
do. I do. And yeah, so here's the thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I do feel like it can illustrate that. I think I guess I wish that if they wanted to make a point out of that, they had made more of a point out of that.
mhm.
I feel like they didn't even really make a proper point out of that. Like, for
Maybe the point
example,
is that if you just follow and don't define your own path, you'll just end up as cannon fodder for life.
I just like, I feel like there's a terminated arc or mini plot there
Hmm.
where like the Man in Black shows up and he says, Aslock, and he says, all of you are following Jacob, but none of you have ever
But
met him. You know, don't you want to meet him? You
mm-hmm,
know,
mm-hmm.
and then there's that whole exchange with Ben and Richard, like, oh man, I think Flock's gonna be a problem. Why do you think I tried to kill him? It's like,
That.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But it's like that's suggesting like a kind of uh, conflict or at least source of like um, uh, source of story material within the others that is just really left unexplored because they go all the way to the temple. They get Locke's body dumped in front of them, and then fake Locke, who I guess they must all now know is not Locke,
Mm-hmm.
comes out. Uh, Jacob's dead, and he's like, "I'm disappointed in all of you." And then like it's like, what the fuck are they thinking? Like,
Yeah.
we get no indication because they just disappear. Like
Mm-hmm.
we only follow Ilana, who's not a proper other. She
Mm-hmm.
hasn't been on the island the whole time. She's a
No.
separate. She's others adjacent, but she's not
Yeah.
really an other.
No.
And like the characters we know, that we
Mm-hmm.
follow, but the rest of them are just like whatever. I don't know. I guess they go to the temple or something. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know where they go. Like
Well, and what makes it worse is they make it fairly clear that the others understand the concept of Man in Black. They,
yeah.
it's not like they think, "Oh, it's just a guy. What do we have to fear?" They understand. They
Mm-hmm.
they made it clear that the others understand that who this person is, the anti Jacob, basically. So
Yeah.
that makes this whole situation even worse than it would ordinarily be because, if they had plausible deniability, right? then you could say, oh well, they just think it's somebody else, or they think it's Lag, or
Right.
they don't even they've never heard of Man in Black, you know what I mean, or whatever. Like, but it's
Yeah.
like no, they actually get it, and they're doing it anyway,
Yeah.
and we don't understand why, so it's like compounding issues.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just feel like there should have been like some others who, because like again, Richard is like a special case too. Like
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't count either. Like rank and file others,
Yeah.
some of them should have had some reaction to that. It's just
Mm-hmm.
they're just so passive. Like it's
But
just
the other thing
weird.
is we don't even know why the others, right? Where'd they come from? You know what I mean? Like, why are they chosen?
Yeah,
So we don't
yeah,
even understand what connects them on that
yeah.
level.
That's a big
And
missing
like Cindy is one of our big
piece.
examples of that process, right? But
Yeah.
like, why Cindy?
Yeah, there's
you
no
know?
reason. There's no reason
Yeah,
given.
yeah.
It
So,
seems very arbitrary. They talk
mhm.
about lists, but
Because wouldn't the candidates be the ones that the others want to take and be safe? Like this
I
whole
know. Oh,
thing
now you're getting
with
into this
Dogen,
fucking shit here.
like like
Yeah,
with
I
Dogen,
know.
Hurley has a list from Jacob, and Dogen's like, oh okay, gotta protect these people. Like,
Hmm.
why wasn't that in season one? Like, why weren't the candidates the ones who were like, oh, okay, we're gonna take them? They're the important ones. We'll protect these people from Man in Black or from danger. But it's like,
Yeah.
no, they were like taking other people. It was so weird.
Yeah. I mean, the short answer is like they definitely didn't have that plot back in season one. But
What?
like the the other thing I'll throw in is that infamous picket line. Oh,
He
Shepard
wasn't even
wasn't
on
even on
Jacob's list.
Jacob's list.
Yeah,
It's
wow,
like,
what a
okay,
way to ruin
what?
that. Yeah.
What?
Mhm.
Like, huh?
Mhm.
Like, it's a cool line, but it never works. Like, I
Mhm.
have no idea what we're supposed to think about. Like, they didn't, for example,
But
have her
okay,
reveal
so
that Ben was faking the lists or something. They should have
I'll
said that. When he confronts Jacob, he's like, all those lists, I did everything you said, blah, blah, blah. Jacob
yeah.
should have been like, you wrote those lists,
Okay,
motherfucker.
so
Like,
I'm gonna flip it and build a bridge that I don't think they built, but maybe this is the answer. So
okay.
maybe um oh wait, now I lost how it worked. Uh
Shit.
Wait, what was the problem?
The problem is Shepard isn't on Jacob's list.
Oh, okay. I was going to say maybe the idea is that, we know from episode Lighthouse, Jacob was looking at Jack the whole time, right? He's a
Right.
broken person, bring him to the island. So maybe the whole point is he's not on the list because Jacob wants him to stay in the jungle and go through the hardships of being on the island and doing all that stuff. He doesn't want him protected from that journey by staying with the others.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why he's not on the list.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I mean, why not? Like, yeah, I'm willing to buy that. I just
I mean, it's counterintuitive because of how we thought of Jacob's list at the time. But I think
right.
in hindsight, that could be not that I think it's a real reason, but I think it could sort of cover it up because the whole point is for Jack to go through the hardships.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean that's cool. I do wish that if that's what their intent was, that they had
Mm-hmm.
provided a little bit more of an explanation or someone at least asking the question, you know, um,
Mm-hmm.
of like why you treated this thing differently. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
introduced to Richard with the idea, when that whole flashback that we'll get to here soon. Um,
Yay.
I know, right? Can't wait. It's the whole ending point is like, hey Jacob, if you don't intervene, then the man in black's gonna step in and people are just gonna end up dead, or he's just gonna send someone to kill you again. And he's like, okay, maybe you're right. You'll be my emissary. You'll communicate between me and the people I bring to the island. And to me,
Mm-hmm.
that was an indication that, that was something like the birth of the others. And I so like what we learn this season is that Richard didn't know about the candidates. So I feel like the part that's missing is like, hey Jacob, why didn't you tell me about the candidates? you
Yeah.
know? And like he could have the opportunity to say, well, I needed them to go through the blah 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 because of the whatever he's gonna
Yep.
say. But
Yep.
I feel like they don't really provide that. It's just kind
Yeah,
of
no,
floating
that's what I
there.
said. They didn't really build the bridge to those ideas, but I think you could
You
get
could
there
do
by
it.
kind of what they showed.
Yeah,
But yeah, they
yeah,
didn't really nail that part.
yeah. I think that should have been addressed because I do think as soon as you say like, here's this list of people that Jacob brought to the island.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and then you show an episode or like, you'll be my emissary to the people I bring to the island. It's like, and we know in the past he was giving lists supposedly of
Mm-hmm.
people to take and bring it to the others. It's like, why weren't they there, and why were they so not there that like one of the candidates to replace you wasn't even on your lists?
Yep.
Like that's just really strange, and I think someone should have asked that. Ben should have asked that. Like he has enough information to know that's a problem, or Richard, or somebody who
But
like
Ben
would
even
know.
says, um, you know, he needed a spinal surgeon and got, one fell out of the sky, right? Like,
Right, he
so,
does say that.
he's got this whole, yeah, he has opportunities to wonder about why Jack is there and how that relates to Jacob and all that stuff too. And, he knows what happened to Locke and all that. So yeah, that whole stuff yeah, it's messy. It's definitely messy and not clean cut at all. And, yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it is amazing how many like sort of failed plot lines come to a head in this episode. And I think that is probably one of the most frustrating things about it. It really forces you to confront all those things like in one small package, you know. And I think
Yay.
and I think they distract you from that because it's a fairly action-packed episode.
Mm-hmm.
Um and the plot moves forward. Uh
Yeah.
it's the last we see of the temple.
Mm-hmm.
From here we kind of enter a second phase of the season. Like it's sort of like the season is maybe in like something like three parts, and this is like the
Mm-hmm.
end of the first part.
Yeah.
um and so like it plays functionally like pretty well. It's just like deeply unsatisfying on pretty much every level. so
I can't wait.
so who wants to watch it?
Yeah, let's do some Sundown. You can't get a better tee up than that. Wow, that fails on every level. So
Let's turn it on.
let's count how many levels. All right, here we go.
So yeah, you ready to get into this thing?
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, everyone, stream your digital streamers ready. That's the phrase. I don't know how to say things in the 21st century. So
I don't
interesting.
either. I don't know what you're supposed to say there.
Yeah,
It slightly
yeah.
changes every time we do this, and
I'm trying to
yeah,
keep up with the times, but
yeah. Like, what's the right verb and what's the right
Mm-hmm.
noun there?
Mm-hmm. No
Like,
clue.
everybody, get your ready to.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the English language is failing us right now
It
on this
is. It
particular
wasn't equipped for
problem.
this. Okay,
Mm-mm,
like.
mm-mm. Yeah, I guess get your players ready kind of works, but I guess it's some sort of player, right? If you're
Yeah,
right,
yeah. It plays
everything's a
things. You
player.
could call it
So
a player, sure.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Um, yeah. Set your media to ready to go. I don't know. Amazon Prime your Netflix. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. I feel like that we just solved it. That's what we should call it.
I
Amazon Prime,
agree.
Amazon Prime and Netflix.
Yeah, yeah. It's only brand names now
Yep,
that
that's
we have to
it. We
speak
get it.
in.
We get it. All words are branded. Yep. It's like that thing where like all the stadiums became like sponsored by some brand, and
Yes.
it's like it didn't have a
Yes.
unique name anymore.
There used
It's
to
like
just be a stadium
it
that
was
wasn't
just the
trying to sell you
stadium.
shit.
It wasn't the Staples Arena.
It didn't have to be every
Staples
goddamn time.
wasn't known for sports before. Yeah, it's great. It's really it's a genius thing though, because like every time you want to need it, oh, it's the American Airlines
You
Arena.
say the
It's like
brand name, yeah.
all the time. It's insidious, but it's genius.
Yeah. That's why
And
they do it.
yeah, and I do feel like words might be that. I mean, obviously there's words that are copywritten already, but like, yeah, I could see that being the next level of like, it's like maker's mark hashtag or something. Like whatever words you
Mm-hmm.
say, you have to say the brand in front of it.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so get your
Breaking
Amazon
news.
Prime, Netflix in.
All right.
All right,
I'm
here we go.
ready.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2. Previously unlost. The son of a bitch, you shot my kids. I'm gonna shoot
Oh.
you. Get into the spring. We don't know what's gonna happen.
That was a shortcut.
He's not dead anymore.
Oh man, that was quick.
Yep. Let's test him, see if he's evil.
Turn this crank.
Yep. Oh, the crank says he's evil. The crank knows. It's poison. You have to kill him. Okay, darkness. It implies that that's the darkness that brought him back to life.
Yeah.
But I'm already dead. It's so weird.
It won't work.
The people who brought you back to life want you dead. It's such a weird.
That is
Yeah,
really weird.
yeah, it's so tough.
Maybe that's also why he comes to believe that the man in black brought him back.
Mm-hmm. Shannon's house.
Shay Shannon.
See Shannon. Shannon, your hair's darker.
I hate it, but it's fine.
Don't close the door.
Oh, right, right. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot about this.
I remember that being a horrible response. I remember going like, "That's the best he could come up with." Yeah, why did you bring flowers? You
Yeah, he
knew he
didn't
was
have an
gonna be
answer,
there. You
clearly.
knew he was gonna be there.
Yeah.
It's almost like the writers were like, "Oops,
Yeah.
we wanted him to have flowers, but
That's the thing. They wanted that opening part, but then it
yeah."
just gets awkward.
At the dinner
Oh, I forgot
table,
about dinner table.
yeah,
You went on about that part. Oh man, that's a lot. That's a lot of
yeah,
syllables.
yeah. It's the best. It's the best pronunciation of dinner ever. Dinner table.
Yeah, there's
It's great.
extra ululation or
Yeah.
something.
Oh, I
Boy.
remember this. It was just sitting on top or something.
Yeah, I know. That's
What
like
is this?
weird.
So first he brings flowers. Now he has a picture.
That's
Kind
the
of like a creepy
picture.
picture too.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
spying on
yeah,
her.
yeah. Like somebody's spying on her or something.
Mm-hmm.
Illicit photo.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. Saints on a
Uh-oh.
mission.
Scooby-Doo time. Dogan's hilarious. Have there been any mysteries since you came here?
I remember none.
I can't name one mysterious thing. Maybe. Oh, I know what's coming.
I was dead.
Exactly. Do it now. I forget that the show does this
Yeah.
every now and then. The
Yeah.
martial arts scene.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't do it that often,
Yeah.
but when they do, it's definitely a feature.
Yep.
This is sort of a follow-up to the Kimi thing from
Yep.
season 4.
No, it's just he did his best, man. He's got
Yeah.
it. I mean, he still's got it.
Yeah. Not a broom.
Yep. See, that's what they used to leave those broom tracks.
You're right. I forgot about that. Oh
Oh, not the
no!
ball.
Anything but the baseball.
And then I remember this being like, okay, now I don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
it was so important that I kill you a minute ago, but now the other option is you can just leave.
Yeah, so I remember at the time thinking like, so the baseball reminds him of Jacob, because that's like when Jacob met him, like after this fateful baseball game
Mm-hmm.
that his son was playing in, and like, oh fuck.
Mm-hmm. Here we go.
I'm so annoyed that they showed the ash line. I feel like if you're not gonna acknowledge it, just don't even show it. Like the fact
Yeah.
that they show it, it's like
No, this is it. There it is.
it's
If I
like
could
they're
do it
rubbing
myself,
my
I would be
face
asking
in
you.
it. I know, but then it's like, but then why doesn't it matter? Oh boy. Boy.
She's fine with that. She's like, listening's easy. No one will die. I
Yeah,
listen without even trying.
that's like they could have just had him send in Claire, like I can't walk
Uh-huh.
in there. They need like a familiar face, or they need someone who seems less threatening, or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
You don't have to show the ash line. It's if you're doing nothing with it, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so annoyed that it's like that shit's there and you're just gonna pretend like it isn't later.
Well, but they seem here to say it does matter.
I know. I know. Oh, right. Sorry. Okay, so I lost my train of thought. Maybe I can talk over this scene because this is just like Flash Sideways business.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I was gonna say, it reminded me of Jacob. It reminded me. So I'm thinking that Jacob told him, maybe it was in the note or something, but like his obligations to Jacob like mean he can't kill Saeed, even though he was gonna poison him. But
Hmm.
he wanted Jack to do it, so he would take it willingly. So like, I guess maybe in his mind that was a loophole. But if he
Oh, you're
just,
saying you can't kill Saeed because Saeed's a candidate, but it'd be better if Saeed was dead because this thing is growing
I
inside of him
think
and everything
so.
else. Okay,
Yeah. So like when he sees the baseball, he's like, "Oh, I can't actually do it."
gotcha. I'm trying to think. Why is this Saeed's Flash Sideways story?
Yeah. I mean, it's about it's about like grappling with his past and like what whether he's good or evil. I mean, I think it kind of ties in
Hmm.
with this claiming storyline.
Oh, Miles is on the show.
Yeah, I know, right? What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? I really am evil. I just got the update. I love
Oh,
that.
he actually mentioned that. Oh, here it is. Here's our answer. There, that's when we get the 2 hours.
There we go. Here we go.
Okay, this is where he decides it's or later,
Mm-hmm.
like this is the
Mm-hmm.
catalyst for him to decide it was Man in Black.
Yeah. Where's my baby? Yeah, shouldn't she knows Dogan speaks English? She didn't they torture her before?
Yeah, they did.
Uh oh, don't say things like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's like really simple. That's not even as crazy as I thought it was gonna be.
Yep, yep. Started out really crazy, then got really normal. Hmm. Luke Carter. What a great
Also, your
leader.
Japanese is terrible. Sounds like English. For someone who can understand it, you really don't speak it.
Hmm. Huh.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Well. So now he's like, oh, I remember this being horrible.
This
This
is
like back and
so like,
forth,
yeah,
like
this is messy AF.
yeah. Because
Like,
now he's like, okay, well, now I actually do want you dead, but because I want you to go kill Locke,
right,
and if you die trying to kill him, that's good for me too.
right. Oh, the secret mystery dagger.
Yeah. Brush it off, Dogan.
Forgot about that.
Why didn't you just say she's evil like you?
He really should say that. It's weird that now he doesn't even seem to think that.
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit, that's a mistake. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
I forgot. I didn't notice that before.
Yeah, he played softball with that line and did not just say
Yeah.
she's what you will become or whatever. Here we go.
What?
Speak to him. Okay, here's the other similarity with the Flash Sideways is
Yeah,
Saeed being used
exactly.
murder for hire.
Yeah, go do violence for me.
No, he won't though, because he can't change anymore. Although technically, yes, because Locke is so it actually
Right.
fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it fits.
Oh, I
I
forgot
love
about all
that.
this stuff.
Yeah, I didn't. And this goes back to the bin thing of people convincing him to be a murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, yeah, like I'm gonna go kill this man just because you told me he's evil
Yeah.
from the people who just told me I'm
Yeah,
evil.
is that actually the good thing to do?
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's not clear.
To work.
Toronto.
What a weird Flash Sideways. Off to murder.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, don't look at me. Oh, Saeed. The answer's no.
Yeah. The answer's clearly no. And yet, he gets to move on. It's weird. Oh wow. I did not remember this.
Mm-mm. Hmm. Oh, I remember that. Miles will fill you in on everything that's happened since you were gone.
He's got nothing else to
It's weird
do.
that she's back.
It is weird.
She just had nowhere else to go. Oh, but Claire's here. Yay!
Yeah, right. That's yeah.
Finally, right? They haven't seen each other
No, they
since.
haven't seen each other. No.
And she's been looking for Claire,
Yeah.
sort of.
I mean, trying.
Yeah.
Not it hadn't had a lot of leads.
So he's sitting you backing.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Sick
there's no
bird.
comeback from that. All right, he saved it a little bit. A little
Yeah.
empathy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Shit, there's only one. Okay. Now it's looking
Yep.
acting all weird.
Acting all weird. She's dead, Kate. Those plants look fake.
That'd be hilarious if they just like trucked in fake plants.
They had to get it right. Real plants didn't look right on film.
Isn't there
They don't
something else like
flutter in the
that?
wind right. Is there what?
Isn't there something else like that? Like where like the real thing looks fake?
Yeah, snow or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, here we go. You better kill him before he says a word.
He's so windy.
He's such a windbag.
Too
He
late.
did it. He did it. It was too late.
Too late.
Yeah, he said 2 words. This
Damn
is
it.
great. Oh, you dropped your knife. Ancient dagger. Oh man. I think this needs some explanation though. It's still not clear why he's impervious to wounds like this.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess no blood. He's got no blood.
It's interesting that it affects the shirt,
Yeah.
since like the shirt's just as artificial as the rest of him.
You don't think he's really wearing a shirt?
I don't. I think
Oh,
he
it's a
he
flesh.
fabricates the shirt.
It's his flesh shirt.
Yeah, because like when he turns to the smoke monster, it's not like there's a pile of clothes, and it's not like when he comes back he's
I'm
naked and he
pretty
has a
sure
bunch of
there's a
clothes
pile of clothes. He's got to put his pants on one smoke leg at a time,
on.
just like the rest of us. Time to sit on the log. See, this is where the island got it from.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. Reversal. He just wanted a way to kill you.
Yep.
Which is like this weird thing that he got Ben to kill Jacob. So it's this weird thing where people on the
Yep.
island get someone else to do the killing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what he's doing right now.
Yep. And the message is die.
I forgot that he promises that big.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing's name was it. He doesn't even like give a personal pronoun. God, that's so weird. I'll never see it again. Like, don't call me it.
My arm. It it was like a radio transistor or something that ran out of batteries. He just loved it. It was my favorite radio transistor. You know, one of the things I was thinking about Man in Black with that question that's so bonkers. What if you could have anything? Another thing they could have done, I think, to streamline his character arc would be the fact that he's like, part the Roman dude who washed up on the island with his brother, and
Mm-hmm.
was the human before he died, right? But it's also like part of whatever's in the light cave that came
Yeah.
out, right? And there's the
Yeah.
smoke monster part. It would have been interesting if and it goes back to the Ben's metaphor of the box that gives you anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this idea that what Man in Black wants is to go back to his quote unquote home, which is in the light cave thing, which is
Mm-hmm.
where life and death and time and everything is. So like that would be cool to what he just asked Saeed. Like, what if I could take you to show you a place where like you could do whatever you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is like they also just have Man in Black want to just physically leave the island, not go
Right.
to a home that's sort of more conceptual
Yeah.
and ties into the light cave flash sideways stuff. But
Right.
it's more just like he wants to go to like Boston or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like
Yeah. That's where he wants to go.
yeah. Because that would have been a cool reveal, right? If all this time we are thinking he's trying to
Yeah.
leave the island, but he means he wants inside the light cave and only
Yeah.
like
Well, it's
Jack
weird
or
because he does want to go there, but just so he can like destroy the island and leave.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It almost like they could just tweak it a little bit, and it would be
Yeah.
like he wants to go in there, and the only one who can move the cork is someone who's special or whatever, and so he got to get someone else to do it or something,
Right.
and like this is all one manipulation, and yeah, it'll destroy the island too, but like he can also go to this place.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
they just
Yeah.
swerved and missed that and went straight to just some other version. What happened? Oh God, no.
Yep. They knew that already.
Wow.
He said that already. Oh, Cindy. Sounds
Well, I
like
guess
someone
we're
to
not
follow.
staying. Yeah, not really a choice.
Yeah, it's
Makes it
really
simple. Yeah. Oh man. I
Don't
remember this
fucking
being
be
such a
living.
huge deal after all
Yeah,
this time,
it
finally.
was.
And then we're gonna get this.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's at the bottom of a well this season.
Yeah.
No, Kate. I don't know what you said.
I took Aaron.
Yep. Well, don't put it that way.
Yeah, took
I
is the wrong
rescued
word.
him. I
Yeah, I saved
some
him.
other words.
Yeah. I raised him. Nope, wrong word again. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Okay, this is saving it. Okay, that's what I want to hear.
That sounds a
Is
lot
is it too
better.
late? Is it too late? Oh. You want to see her? You saw her. Yeah, see, that's what's weird. Is like she doesn't even respond to she cared so much about what Aaron was, and now
Yeah.
she gets told where he is and doesn't even care about the
Yeah.
results of that conversation.
Yeah, no shit. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, that's how panics
I
work.
said leave or die, so
Yeah. Like we've only been here because we thought it was safe. No other reason.
all right. So I guess Lennon is the loyalist here.
Mm-hmm. That's ominous.
Yeah. You could leave it in the sheath and return it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Wow. So I guess he did come home and wait for the kids.
Yeah. He did. I guess he made the quote unquote right choice, but he gets
Mm-hmm.
pulled in anyway.
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh god, I remember this now.
Mm-hmm.
I knew there was something. Yeah, I just
An
forgot this
old
like
familiar
specific
friend.
thing. Oh,
Who could it be?
is that
Who's cracking
everyone's
an
favorite Eggman?
egg? It's the Eggman. Give me eggs. I think it's too late to make scrambled eggs unless you're gonna start over. Make good eggs. Like, yeah, I think you kind of have to be in the mood for eggs. It's not like a dish you just kind of always might want. Excuse me while I eat this egg I made. Nod. All right, let's see the contract. What about you would suggest that I am capable of that?
This is like a Man in Black gangster. Like, I don't do
Yeah,
that. I don't do anything.
classic move. That was easy. You're right. I don't make the best eggs. I went too far.
Or was there a dad?
Or was there? Yeah. Hmm. So Saeed, even in his flash sideways, is just like a good hearted murderer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, what lesson does he need to learn?
I think I'm trying to remember what his big lesson is. I think his lesson is, oh, right. I forgot about this.
Mm-hmm. Huh. That was a
Yeah.
twist.
I forgot about that crossover.
Yeah. Uh
They do a
oh.
lot of that with the Flash Sideways.
Well, he
Well, he
did
did say
talk,
hello,
and
Saeed,
then
first.
yeah. Your name's on the list, and a cave wall. And we got home safely. Oh, oops.
Yeah, that's
So it's almost like Jacob helped his son get killed the way he helped
Mm-hmm.
Nadia get killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is also weird that he was personally recruited.
Yeah. Yeah, he like never does that.
Mm-hmm.
It's so specific and it's
Like,
not clear
why?
why
Yeah, why wouldn't this be Richard's job?
he made an exception. Yeah. Like Temple Guardian gets special treatments.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I like to stay so I can kill you.
yeah.
I mean, how could he even stay? Dogan was wanted to leave several times and kill him. It's like, yeah, you can't really
Mm-hmm.
stay here.
It's weird to kill him by drowning, like in the
Yeah,
same place
yeah.
where he
2 hours
drowned.
later, Dogan will be alive, right?
I know. It's. I guess he won't be brought back. I remember talking about that at the time.
Uh
Oh
oh. Here it
no!
is.
No!
The famous line.
God.
He was the only thing keeping it out. Wow. No, that's what you get. Oh man, I know. Okay, so that's what the truth is. He said it.
Yep. But what about the ash line?
Mm-hmm. It's about.
Before I slit your throat, just a word or two.
Uh-huh.
Ah,
Yeah.
here we go. See,
But this
it doesn't matter now. I don't know why.
Because it's Dogan's ash. And all the ash is from a particular person and only works for them. I don't know.
It's like, yeah, it's like personal ash. So like Bram's ash would only work
It
for
was his
Bram,
Graham, yeah, Graham
or like
ash.
Bram's Bramtown or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Bram, yeah. This was also weird that he just kills everyone indiscriminately like this, just because what? Like for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's like they
I
didn't
think it's
believe
really
him.
just for the show to like get rid of this location.
Yeah. Here's the crazy music.
Yeah. Da, 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 da. Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, this is hilarious. Oh, Lana's
It's the
like,
smoke monster.
oh, who are these people? Where did they come from? What? Ben's here too?
I know that cut to Ben has always seemed so awkward to me.
Yes.
It's like I don't believe
What?
he's in the room with them.
Yeah. That's why I requested to be in the hole. I don't know.
It's a smoke hole.
But like, why couldn't it get her if it wanted to? It
It
just,
really could.
yeah,
It's almost like it's not paying attention. Like it's really strange.
yeah.
Like it's just randomly flying around.
Yikes! This Ben shows up, and then now he's just evil. It's like he just decided.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. Like, why did that talk with Man in Black make him just go, "Yeah, cool, I'll just be evil then. I'll just embrace it or whatever." Oh, because the Nadia thing, because he's gonna get Nadia back or whatever he's thinking. Okay, that's why he's doing
Right, right.
it. Jin? Yeah, this is
Like my
weird.
one thing?
Yeah,
Come
it's weird with
on.
the logistics where like all of a sudden all these characters are trying to do the same thing, but it's not like they were
Yeah.
locked in the same room the whole time and we
Right.
like tracking them. It's like
Yeah.
we're going to all show up and all want to leave like the exact same
It's
time.
really strange.
We just came here to say we gotta go.
Exactly. Like we just got here. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, super weird.
I see nothing.
Time to get a gun and
All right, new others.
mm-hmm. That's a new class of others. 2.0 plus Kate.
Huh?
Kate's along for the ride. He's like, whatever. I'll kill her
You?
later.
Yeah, exactly. That's the plan.
Yeah. It's like way too easy for him. He just got a whole bunch of people to follow him now to protect him, to do whatever he
Yep.
wants. Like, yeah, it's
Yep.
great for him.
Definitely.
It's like, wow, that was easy. Should have done this
What
before.
are you fuckers thinking? Oh my God.
I guess they're just thinking they want out, and he's promising a way off this crazy rock, and that's all they care about.
Yeah, I think that's just so strange though. It's like I mean I guess on a level I get it. Like, okay, if Jacob's dead, why are we here? We should just leave.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I'm thinking, I mean, a lot of you presumably have been here a while. You've devoted significant portion of your life. Like, it just seems so strange to just abruptly, I don't know, like not try to, I don't know, think through some kind of alternate plan. I mean, at the very least, like following the guy who killed Jacobs, or at
Mm-hmm.
least like had him killed, seems not the best.
Well, there was a good percentage of them who did stay, so you could say, okay,
Yeah,
those are
that's
the
true.
loyals, or those are the
Those are
ones
the
who
loyal
wanted more time
ones.
to figure it out and think, and he
Yeah.
didn't give them a lot of time.
No, it was very quick. Yeah,
So
that's
it's
true.
really basically the people who left were the ones who were probably the least committed,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
because they were able to make the decision faster.
Right, right. And they showed Cindy going through that thought process. So
Mm-hmm.
I guess that is the idea. I still don't find it 100% convincing, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, it's fine. What I was gonna
The
say
Ash
is
thing, man. Oh,
what?
I was thinking the Ash thing.
Oh God. Yeah, okay. Let me let me come back to the Ash. The one thing I was gonna say is that I think the point with Saeed is you shouldn't let people tell you that you're evil.
You should
You
just
should
be
decide it for
evil.
yourself. Yeah, I think that's the sort of quote unquote lesson that they have. I think it's Hurley who says that to Saeed in the last episode, and I think that's the closest thing to a summary of what his story is supposed to be about, or what the overall idea is. Like, you shouldn't let people tell you that you're evil.
You should just do it.
You have to like make up your own mind. So if you decide you're evil, that's better than just letting people tell you you're evil and being evil for that
Mhm.
reason.
Don't be evil because people tell you to be evil. Be evil because you want to be evil.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a lesson for the kids. I think that's a wholesome lesson.
I mean, I think it probably wasn't intended to be like to embrace your own evil, like for your own reasons, but you could definitely take it that way. I think it was supposed to be more like you should decide what kind of person you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't let other people tell you that you're this kind of person, so you should do this thing, you know, because he does have that happen, you know, with like Ben and with Dogen and the Man
Mm-hmm.
in Black, and in the Flash Sideways, it's his brother. You know, there's always people. You're this kind of person, so you should do this thing.
Maybe
You
it's
know.
also a thing about killing for the right reason and being sure you're killing for the right reason.
Yeah.
And with Ben, he was manipulated and into killing, and
Yeah.
but
So I
now maybe
think, yeah,
he's
just someone
more like,
telling you like you're a bad man, you should go kill these people is maybe not a good reason.
yeah, but he's like, oh, I can get Nadia back or Shannon, one of the
Yeah,
two.
whichever. Maybe
Whichever
both if
comes
you give me
up,
anything I
just like
want.
pull the lever and it'll just flip a coin between. Yeah.
It is crazy that the Man in Black promises so big. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he never, you know, it really cuts against the grain of what my image of him is, and the way we've talked about him, which is
Mm-hmm.
that he denies that he can do stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like
Yep.
that's his default position. It's interesting to see him go like hard in the other direction. Like, I will
Yep.
give you anything you want. Like,
Yep.
that's a crazy promise.
Mm-hmm.
And I forgot that he does that. I guess, but I guess they felt like they had to provide something pretty drastic to
Mm-hmm.
get Saeed on his side. And
Yeah,
of
and I guess
course,
because Saeed had he's basically have just been convinced that Man in Black is the one who brought him back from the dead,
yeah,
that now they can lend power to bringing.
that's what the lines with Desmond are all about later.
Yeah.
Like Desmond's like, why did you blah blah blah, and he's like, well, he's, you know, there was someone I lost and he said he could bring it back or whatever. And Desmond's like, what makes you think he can do that? And he's like, well, he brought me back.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they make it very explicit that that's the thought process, but I feel like
Yeah.
it could have also gone the other way, you know,
I also love
initially.
like the logistics of the deaths don't matter, right? Like, well, he brought me back 2 hours after I was drowned versus, a decayed body
Yeah, we were talking about
somewhere.
that. I remember when we did the podcast, like, yeah, maybe he can do like 2 hours, but yeah, can he just like
Yeah.
revive like decomposed flesh and like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
restore vital organs and
Mm-hmm.
like
That's a lot of work.
recreate the whole thing? Like, yeah, that does seem. I'm not convinced that he can do that, but then again, I you know, I'm surprised he could bring Saeed back. So I don't really know
Did
what
he
the
bring Saeed
limits.
back?
Well, I mean, I think there's signaling that he did, but can we know? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can.
And why just Saeed? Why doesn't everyone who die come back under Man in Black's
It
influence?
is very strange and very arbitrary. It sort of reminds me of the Claire thing, where it just seems like he kidnapped Claire for no particular reason. Like, he just
Mm-hmm.
fixated on Saeed. I mean, maybe he's like, oh, you'll be a useful, you know, guy to like send on missions to do shit or
But he
whatever.
never uses his power before, right? Why didn't he make his own group of others by just,
Don't
claiming
bring
people every
that up.
time?
Ew. Yeah, no, it's true. That's that's a valid point. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, Yeah. Does he even know that he did that? You know,
Mm-hmm.
could it be that it's somehow like the claiming potentially like a passive power that he doesn't even
Mm-hmm.
know he's doing?
Yeah, that would be
I don't
really
know. And
interesting.
when he's promising to bring back Nadia Shannon or whatever, like you know, in his mind, it's he's just lying.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do feel like like it's really the deadly combo of oh I anything you want I can do that I can bring what if I could bring it back, and then Miles saying like oh the others didn't bring you back,
Yeah.
like they had no idea what was going on,
Yeah.
and it's like the combination of those two definitely heavily suggests that he was the one who did it, but yeah, it is weird that he never specifically takes credit for it. You would think
Mm-hmm.
that would be the moment to do it too, right?
Yep.
Like, I can bring anyone you want back. I brought you back,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like, you're welcome, by the way.
Yep.
Like he totally could have said that, but he never does. So I don't really know for sure. If he thinks it's all manipulation and he's just like accidentally like a necromancer, or
That's a book title. The
he didn't
Accidental Necromancer.
or he didn't really do it and it's some other thing with like the water and like so the others quote unquote didn't do it but like some weird island magic
Mm-hmm.
thing,
Yeah, yeah.
like whatever, like when Locke gets healed, it's just like
Mm-hmm.
happens, like no one tries to make it happen, it just
Yeah.
happens. I think that's what happened. I mean, I don't know.
Or Jacob does it,
Or
or
Jacob does
or
it,
not.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, can Jacob do things now that he's dead? He can appear, but what does that mean? Are there limits on that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
mess. It's a mess.
it is. Yeah,
Um.
so as far as the Ash scene, like I think that's the thing that really gets me. I think it would have been easier for me to swallow if they hadn't had the scene with the Ash.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it would have been like, oh, they just like want us to forget about it. And it's like, I can be annoyed with that because shows do that all the time. But it's like, no, they don't because they showed it. And then they don't acknowledge it. But I think your idea is good. But I don't know, I wish like, I wish there had been just a little more of like, that was Dogan's Ash and it doesn't work now that he's dead. I don't know, like something
Mm-hmm.
a little clearer than, and it's weird. Dogan's like, I can't leave this temple because if I leave, wait for it, he'll kill me. Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
If I
thought it was going to be
leave,
something crazier.
yeah. If I leave, the temple will have no defense or something.
Yeah, you
Oh
think he
no.
would say that, right?
Yeah.
Like they have plenty of time
But it
to
also
set
sort
that
of
up.
implies that the reason he would kill him is to get into the temple. So there's a slight implication there of them trying to get
That's
back to the
true.
idea.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's super weird why it would be specific to Dogen.
And
Um,
here's another question that we can't possibly answer. Who's if Ash comes from like individuals, everyone has like I don't know, maybe every other is issued a bag of Ash. I don't know how it
mhm.
works. But like they have them, so like who is Ashes around the cabin
Yep.
then? Sorry, I know that's not like an answerable question, but like once you raise that, it's like now the
Maybe it
Ash has to
was
belong to somebody.
maybe it was Widmore's Ash, and that's why Widmore didn't die. So I think it's somebody who died who's like, oh, they died. That's why the Ash line was broken because the
Oh,
person,
somebody who died.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Who could that be in
Who
that
could it
time
have been?
frame?
Let's see. So who died?
List of characters who died. Let's
I
go.
feel like no others died. At least no like named others died
Yeah,
after
Dan's mom, I guess.
Eloise Hawking?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? She
Oh,
doesn't
I mean,
die.
sorry. She kills him. Sorry. I was like, yeah, I remember her dying. No,
Okay.
he died. That's right.
Okay. Yeah. It could be Tanzash, I guess. It's
Yeah, so I think who. Yeah, what others have we seen? Hmm. Maybe it was Whitmore's Ash, and when he left the island, when he was banished, he was out of range, so it didn't.
oh no. Yeah, see, I think okay, I'm just gonna throw out like a thought. I feel like something that they never came up with an answer to was how do you break the ash circle? Like how do you get around it? You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
like they never. So I feel like by boiling it down to, so like with Bram, it was a loophole. Like I'll drop some stuff from the ceiling on his head, and then he'll just fall out of the circle, and then I can
Hmm.
kill him,
Hmm.
right? But he doesn't go through the circle,
Yeah.
uh, and so I feel like this was a pretty quick, easy, simple version of how to break the ash line. Like, oh, you just got to kill this one guy. Sort of like what they did on Game of Thrones. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, how do we defeat this like endless horde? Like, kill this one fucking guy. Like that's what you
Yep. Nice and simple.
do. Like it seems like that's what they boiled it down to.
Yeah. But then they make
But
the mistake of showing us the ash line being broken before, which makes it seem like, oh, well, that's how you defeat the ash
oh, you're
line.
right. That does imply that there's a way to break it that isn't necessarily connected with killing
Hmm.
anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they start this episode with Man in Black standing outside of the ash, literally
Yeah,
telling her, well, he can't go do it,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
So it does imply that, yeah, it's he can't go through it. But then why couldn't we talked about this last time? Why couldn't Claire just use her foot and
I
break the
know.
ash?
Just like sweep it aside. Yeah,
Yeah.
it shouldn't hurt her or affect her in any way,
Hmm.
I would think. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like that was a theory I remember talking about the cabin too, that like,
Hmm.
that he just got Claire to like
Use
brush
that broom.
aside.
Use that broom. Sweep it aside.
He was technically there before the Claire thing happened, unfortunately, but it
Yeah.
almost works
Yeah.
because it was like moving around and stuff.
However that worked.
Yeah, I know. Don't even
It was Man
ask.
in
Like,
Black
what are you
impersonating
talking
a
about? I never
cabin.
moved a cabin.
He impersonated a cabin because the cabin had died.
Right. It wasn't even the cabin. It was like
Hmm.
Man in Black cabin, ghost
Hmm.
cabin.
Ghost cabin. It's the worst kind of cabin. It's not even there. That's why Hurley could see it. I remember that whole theory.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. It's like a strangely good point.
It's almost like it would it to even make it weirder. Alana burns down the cabin, right? And so after
Yeah.
that point, the cabin's dead. But
Right.
Man in Black with his time traveling, so he was actually channeling the dead cabin. The cabin
Oh
after
my
it was burned from the
god. The dead
future.
cabin from the future?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That is a crackpot theory. Holy shit. Dead cabin from the future?
Yep.
Nice. That is so ridiculous. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Why was Hurley? Oh boy. Yeah. This is, oh man. It's so endless. It is
Yeah.
amazing how much they came together. I felt like there were only about two or three scenes that didn't have something like really objectionable.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
There was like the scene with Saeed and Kate where they just kind of pass each other and it was fine. And there was that little scene with Miles and Saeed, where they just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like exchange information. And I do love Saeed, like, apparently I'm evil.
Yeah. I just got the memo.
That's pretty funny. But I
It's
think the
also
other
true.
thing I'll say is that I think the Flash Sideways like didn't really work for me, and I'm trying to figure out what the problem was. and I'm not 100% sure what it was, but I will say that in general, when they try to make the Flash sideways like edgy or like sort of like violent or something, like it comes across like knowing where it's going, it comes across fake to me. Like I don't care about any of this because I feel like there's no real stakes there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like in a simple emotional drama story, like we had with
Jack.
Jack and Locke, and
Yeah.
even
Mm-hmm.
Kate's, I think, was more effective on this level, even though it had some of the violence, but it wasn't so over the top as this one was with like gangsta Christopher Walken, Kimi, you
Yeah.
know. I kind of check out because I'm just thinking like this is I don't really buy any of this, and it also doesn't feel like a strong enough like sort
Mm-hmm.
of emotional journey or whatever for the character to anchor the thing or to draw me in. So I don't know, it just feels a bit flat to me.
Yeah.
It didn't work the way I think it should have.
It's
uh
weird that it's not that they. Why did they do a version of the story where it's just Saeed and Nadia living happily ever after, and they've got the two kids, and then a gangster from his past or something comes
mhm.
a knocking, and he's got to do like the same thing or something, or like
Yeah,
Nadia accidentally borrowed some money from something, and now these
I
guys are
think it's
coming
because they're gonna have
after
him with Shannon.
her.
I think that's the only reason they didn't write it that way.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to have them together, and they have him say this thing like I don't deserve you or whatever. Like they're setting up the
Yeah.
whole thing with Shannon. It's like because otherwise he's just gonna leave Nadia and go with Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, well, at least they're not like literally together.
But then it's just like, well, what's the point of his flash sideways? Just
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It feels like busy work. It doesn't feel like they really accomplished very much. And it was one of those things too where it was so in a way it was so paralleled with the island stuff that it just felt
hmm
completely unnecessary.
and it didn't say anything different, and that's what was
Exactly.
weird. And say it's like, I don't know, Doug told me to kill you, and Locke's like, well, I don't know, why don't you kill Doug? It's like, okay, it's
Yeah.
almost like it's like, yeah, it's just weird how he's this whole thing with him being a killer is I just kind of don't get their point. I mean, it's a consistent, so I'll give them that.
Yeah, they say it a lot.
It's
It's
very
yeah.
very consistent, but I'm not sure. Yeah, and then yeah, this
Yeah, and
whole
I
thing with
do
him.
feel like they lost the thread too because I feel like the original idea for Said's character was he was a torturer. He was a
Mm-hmm.
torturer in the Republican Guard, and that experience like left its mark, like having to torture people for
Mm-hmm.
some extended period of time, like affected his like way of dealing with the world. And I think like they really just massaged that into something like a bit more basic, which is just like I'm a bad guy, I'm a killer, you know.
Well, I thought the original idea was also the question of um was Saeed being good or natural at this torturing thing, right? Versus like sort of being forced to do it, right? That was
Yeah,
the whole thing with Nadia. It's like he's being forced to do this thing.
right.
Um, but yeah, it does devolve into does that make him bad because he's uses violence for, I mean, as a means to an end. Um, but yeah, to get that through to that fly sideways and go, well, it's fine if you're doing it to protect your family or something. I guess that means it's all right or not. You
Yeah,
shouldn't.
it does seem like the message is it's all right, and maybe we're supposed to believe that like, oh, Kimi's lying, like he shouldn't let him go because if he did he would just
Yeah,
do more harm or something. But I thought it was weird. Like I wasn't. It wasn't clear what the message was supposed to be there. Of
and also they didn't make the threat. I mean, I know, like they beat up the dude, but like I feel like we didn't really get the full extent of how badly he was injured. you know, and
Yeah.
so the threat that Kimi posed seemed out of line
Yeah,
with
yeah,
what
it's pretty
how the
rushed and they
remedy
keep
was
all that
like.
off screen.
Yeah, you know, versus Saeed, like maybe the reveal is was recording the conversation and he says, "I've got you on tape threatening my
Mhm.
brother. Now you'll stay." You know, like handling it in like a different way where he doesn't have to murder
Yeah.
people. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, so it's kind of like they could have had him solve the problem, but the fact that it's through murder is their point somehow, but it's not clear what the point is because it's like, okay, well, it's okay if it's justified, but three people have to die because your brother got beat up?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus like they hit Nadia with a car and he
Mhm.
comes after them, you know, then I could see him killing three
Right.
people,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I agree. It escalates like quite a lot from something that yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, nah. I mean, yeah, it is like pretty sketchy, and they're trying to go through a story there so quickly that yeah, I think they don't hit the points that they need to actually sell it, and
Hmm.
so yeah, it's very rushed to get to an endpoint that then doesn't really work because of how rushed it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, I think that
Well, the episode in rewatching it wasn't as bad as I remember. There's a lot of
yeah.
parts I didn't like, but it wasn't as devastatingly horrible as I remember.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think I feel the same way about it as I did back in the day, which is I didn't actually dislike the episode per se, like as an episode itself. It's really just like the larger issues that it raises and addresses or doesn't address that bother me a lot.
Hmm.
But yeah, just scene by scene, like it isn't that bad of an episode. I agree. It's just like infamous,
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
you
Yep.
know. Like when Lennon bursts in, like I that's one of the most frustrating moments I've ever seen on TV.
It's tough. It's a tough
Like
one.
seriously, it's like no god, every time I just want him to like say something else or just like run or just go away. I don't want to deal with this.
Hmm. I was just reading about the trivia in this episode, and Kimi is wearing the Rolex watch Jin was to deliver to Los Angeles.
Ah, okay. Mhm.
Little thing there. Miles is the first regular character who time traveled to re-encounter other regulars in the present.
Oh,
Lapita's
okay.
Finn and Son, who were not on the island when it was moved.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, and then
Right.
Miles and Son meet in this episode for the first time in the series.
Oh. What? They didn't meet before.
Yep, no
Wow.
meeting. Well, who are
Wow.
you?
Shit. How did
um,
that happen?
I
That's
know
interesting.
that's pretty crazy.
There was something like that. I was listening to this other like Lost rewatch podcast, and there was something like that where it was like Locke. I think it was something like Locke and Jin speak for the first time in like the middle of season two. I think that's
Oh,
what
that's
happened.
funny.
It was something
Interesting.
like that. It was like what?
Yeah.
Really? But I mean, obviously, in that case, since Jin didn't speak English, like that limited how many
Hmm.
characters he could interact with.
Yeah.
But he did still have, some interaction with other characters besides Sun.
Yeah, it's what a weird episode. It's a lot of craziness.
Yeah, yeah. It's it gets the job done. I think the Flash Sideways was kind of a bust. And I think the Temple story is pretty unsatisfying, but it does move it forward and there's some fun moments in there if you
like
can set
like
aside other
when
things.
Ben shows up at the temple door out of
Yes.
nowhere.
Yeah, I know. And they cut to him and it's like, are
Yeah.
you seriously in
Hi,
the same
it's me,
room?
Ben. I've been here all along.
Yeah, exactly. It just
Nothing's
feels so
yeah.
awkward.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, seriously?
There's like a scene that should have happened where we see them enter the temple and we just never
Yeah.
saw that scene. So when they just
Yeah.
show up while everyone else is trying to leave, it just feels so
Yeah.
awkward.
It's like they had too much to cut into the episode and
Hmm.
everything got chopped down to the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And so it ends up being like really strange at times.
Well, I
Yeah,
gotta say, if you're looking for a place to stay, the temple's cleared out now, and you can have a lot of property to yourself. There's some dead bodies around, but it's
yeah, and it
a
wasn't
great
like
real estate
totally
investment.
destroyed or anything. It's still
Hmm.
standing.
Hmm.
There's no like reason to not go there. And yeah, presumably like the man in black isn't gonna come back and
Hmm.
check.
Yeah.
Like why would he care? He's saying he's gonna leave, so
Yep.
you know.
So the barracks are empty. The temple's empty.
Yep.
Jacob's statue's
They're
empty.
clearing out everything.
Yeah, it's a buyer's market right now.
They're gonna blow up the Black Rock soon.
Oh, I forgot about that scene. Oh,
Yeah.
Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yeah, I wasn't sure which episode that was in. Maybe that's the next one.
Yeah, I think so.
Actually, I guess Jack wasn't really in. I mean, he was like he had a cameo in the Flash Sideways, but
Yeah.
he wasn't really in this episode in any serious way.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, that was Sundown.
Yeah, yeah, we got through it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we griped about the gripes that needed to be griped.
Yeah, we grabbed the gripes. All
I
right.
think your
Well.
catch about Claire was a good one, though. I
Mhm.
feel like that's something I hadn't zeroed in on before.
What
That
was that?
Dogan doesn't
Oh.
really acknowledge the fact that Claire
Mm-hmm.
is. At least he said to Jack that Claire is also
Mm-hmm.
claimed like Saeed is.
Yeah, he
So
just
she has
skipped
this
over that.
darkness within her, and yeah, he brushes it off like she's just under the influence of an angry man. It's like, well, maybe that's what Saeed is
Mm-hmm.
too. Like,
Yeah.
how do you know? How do you know he's not? Like your
Mm-hmm.
machine? Didn't your machine say the same thing about
And
Claire?
is
Like,
and is being under the influence of an angry man not the same? Is that a different thing?
yeah, yeah,
And it
yeah.
maybe and
It's
is it in Saeed's evil not because Man in Black brought him back, but because Saeed is just normally evil? He's always been
mm-hmm.
evil because that's his thing. Is that
Yeah,
what it is?
yeah, yeah. They definitely complete that point too as well. That's why Claire is like a better illustration, because she didn't really have like evil in her past
Mm-hmm.
before this whole thing happened. So it should have worked better. But then like it's totally different.
Yeah.
The way she behaves like under the claiming influence is not the way Said does. It's
Mm-hmm.
very inconsistent, and they both just shake it off in the end. So I can only assume it's not that bad.
Yeah. What I was thinking.
Yeah. And yeah, it also it was super weird when like Kate's like, I had Aaron, I raised him, he's fine. I
Mm-hmm.
want to take you to him. And
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't even seem
Nope.
to hear that.
She just
Like
was like, "Who's Aaron? I never
that
cared
should
about
be a way
him."
bigger deal.
Yeah.
And then she just turns into like like horror lady at the
Mm-hmm.
bottom of a well, like he's coming for you, Kate, you can't run.
He's already here.
It's like, uh did you hear what she just said? Your whole
Mm-hmm.
obsession, you
Yep.
built a squirrel baby, like don't you care?
Squirrel corpse baby, please.
Like where your actual baby yeah, I think they bungled that too. That's definitely not that's not how that should have gone, and that was rushed as well.
It's like, why
Oh
not just
man.
let her respond to her? Like, just tell us whether she believed Kate or not, or was
Hmm.
mad or happy. Like,
Yeah.
why not? She
Yeah.
could just say, "That's impossible. The others have him." Or "Wow, really? Thanks. I was really upset. I
Hmm.
guess I overreacted.
Yeah, exactly.
I went on Rousseau for nothing. Wow, guys, I said so many traps." It's just a trap setting left and right. Yeah, the Claire thing never gets better after this. It's all,
No,
yeah. Saeed
no,
and Claire
no.
really get the short end of
Actually,
the
it's
stick.
already peaked, and it was
Yeah.
never very good.
Mm-mm.
They never made it work. Claire's best moment was the season 4 thing in the cabin. Like she was actually kind of creepy in that scene,
Mm-hmm.
but she played it different. Like it's like this version is just not. It's just not working.
I almost feel like they should have kept that nonchalant Claire version, and
Yeah.
then what they could have done with the this Claire is, because see what they, part of the mismatch is Saeed's version of being claimed is him just going, cool, I'll be evil then, fine.
Mm-hmm.
And Claire's version should have been, because her conflict is she wants Aaron back, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so her evil version should have been, I actually don't want to be a mother, and I never did. Like that should have been
Yeah.
her version of that, and then that would have gone with that nonchalant Claire who just like left Aaron in the woods.
Yeah.
And instead of her being like Rousseau, she would have just been like carefree, sort of like, I don't really care. And then when Kate's like, "Hey, I got Aaron," oh, who's Aaron? Whatever. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't. That's not. I'm glad he's
Yeah.
safe. Who cares? Or something.
Right. Right.
Um, and then have her like play against that or something.
Right. Right. That could
Or
be the arc.
yeah, or when Kate says, "I have Aaron," then she snaps out of it.
Right. Right. That leads to the change in the character, and then
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that would have worked better, definitely. It would have been, yeah, just like more effective on screen. It would have made more
Mm-hmm.
sense. It wouldn't have rubbed up against the Rousseau plot in such a way, like where it just
Yeah.
confuses what even happened there. Like the drawing that analogy is messy anyway, and the whole idea of the others having her baby, and yeah, like it never works. So yeah, I think you're
Mm,
right. Like twisting her to the opposite thing would have been more effective,
yeah.
definitely, and
Oh
more
well.
interesting and.
Hopefully, when they reboot it, they'll take all of our suggestions.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll be there.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll be back next time with Dr. Linus. The
Yes, we
doctor
will.
will be in.
Indeed.
All right. Till next time. Thanks and namaste.
Namaste and good luck.